Hello, guys. We are now on episode 2 slash part 2 of this series, and we're going to be finishing right where we left off. So, we left off at Russia having a little bit of skirmishes of some Polish troops over here. Not over here like I did last video, like just on the Polish border, like right here. So that's pretty bad, like I said, because this new Ukraine gave them military access. That's pretty bad if you want to ask someone like me. So Russia is, well, they're kind of barely, like they are at war with NATO right now as we speak, but nothing is happening because I'm not going to make something happen. Everything is just going to be same. I mean, like, the same. But we're going to have Finland being the absolute chad it is, and being the only country daring to ever invade Russia. Take this peninsula, whatever it's called, and they're going to take all of this. And honestly, Russia doesn't really care. They only care about St. Petersburg, which is kind of right here. It is right there. So I'll just put St. Petersburg as just like a reminder that it exists. It's right over here. So Finland is probably going to try pretty hard to get to St. Petersburg, but Russia is known for defending capital cities. I mean, St. Petersburg is not the capital, but protecting major and capital cities. So Finland isn't really going to be able to do this. We're not going to be doing like memes. We're going to actually be doing like supposed to be realistic. So Finland is really like barely there. So Russia's going to barely, like, Russia is pushing back Finland, like not much, but more so in this area because they don't want St. Petersburg to be captured, obviously. So, that offensive kind of failed. That's kind of bad. But, oh no. So that offensive really did fail. Okay, so Russia's going to be going. Oh, wow, it's the first time in the whole entire series that Russia is being colored blue. And Finland's capital city is at risk. But it is not at risk because the Finns are insane. Okay, you have to know, the Finns are pretty crazy. And they didn't just get encircled. That was just a mapping error that I accidentally did. So, Finland isn't really doing that good. I mean, of course it is. This is probably a little more than the whole entire country, Finland itself. Or maybe very close to being. Oh, so Russia is doing a pretty good job. Their goal is to encircle this, but they're only going to be able to do this because, yeah, they encircled a little. That's the only thing I can say that the Russians kind of did. So now what else? Not a stalemate, because why stalemate? Of course the Russians aren't going to lose to Finland, I think, because we're not going to be including memes, obviously. This is kind of like, whoa, stop. Finland is doing kind of bad in my opinion. So you know what? They're just going to, yeah. Finland just retreated. That's not very good. So Finland has about 200,000 troops right here, just trying to get into Russia to capture St. Petersburg, major city. So you gotta do what you gotta do for a major city. I mean, Finland is getting really, really, really close, honestly. They might even capture St. Petersburg. The force of 200,000 Finnish soldiers is, well, really, like, hard to defeat because Finnish people aren't normal people, okay? They aren't. And like I said, I'm not trying to be, like, trying to say memes, but it's actually true. The Finnish people are not normal humans, okay? That's just what I have to say. So St. Petersburg isn't captured yet. Maybe it will, but I honestly don't know myself because none of this is scripted. So Russia's like still losing the war, but they're just like trying to push Finland out of here. So Finland is no longer here. What the sad part is for Russia. Oh, okay, but honestly, that's not a major loss for Russia. So Russia's going to start an offensive into. You know what? Let's just color this blue. Okay, that looks more fitting, honestly, because Russia started the war, but Finland was the one who started invading Russia. But still, it's okay. So Russia, just kidding. They're not actually going to go that fast. So Russia is just going to go kind of slowly because Estonia is, I don't know how to say this. I know it looks very weak, but Estonia is actually quite the strong country, and especially because they're also being backed heavily by other countries, and Estonia is being backed by Finland because their secret gay love. Just kidding. Okay, I'm kidding. So Estonia's not going to really face that much troubles, and they're also going to push back the Russians in Latvia because, let's be honest, Estonia is kind of overpowered considering its size. So Russia is going to be pushed back out of Estonia completely, and it's kind of that. Oh, by the way, Belarus is also on Russia's side, same as the new Ukrainian government and the Belarus. Oh, and by the way, the only thing that NATO is going to do for now, I said for now, is capture Kaliningrad pretty damn easily. And NATO is also going to start invading these two weak countries. Belarus being heavily backed by Russia now, and now Ukraine is the new Ukraine is starting to also be invaded, and they're kind of nearing Minsk and Kiev. So Russia is now losing the war, like pretty badly. Let's be honest. So Russia's still going to start an offensive into the Baltics because it's Russia, and they do not give a shiz about anything. So they're just going to like near Tallinn, but they're going to fail because the Estonians are overpowered. And they just got encircled. Boo boo, ha ho ha. So Russia's still losing the war, but now they still have a little bit of a foothold in Estonia that is now gone. So now they're going to try in Latvia, but they're going to this time actually succeed. And they're now. Oh wait, I forgot to color Russia red. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, so Russia is going to try again, and they're going to. Ooh, oh, that's really bad. They're literally right there, and Lithuania is kind of nothingness. So they're just going to capture with all of Lithuania pretty simply, and Kaliningrad is going to start to be liberated. So, yay. But Poland isn't going to let Russia liberate all of Kaliningrad because let's be honest, Poland is kind of overpowered. Ever since the Second World War, Poland has been kind of overpowered. But Poland doesn't see a point, so they're just going to leave Kaliningrad alone. So the Russians, NATO is obviously still winning the war in terms of land gains and in terms of things that are lost. So, hey, also, they really like Belarus. Russia likes Belarus. They're not going to let Belarus fall that quickly. But the only bad part is that it is going to fall that quickly because NATO is kind of overpowered, especially since the US is here. Even though the US... Oh, by the way, this is Europe, so I'm not going to be including the US, I forgot to say. So this is just a European effort. But even without the US, I'm pretty sure Europe militarily and economically is, I'm not pretty sure, I know, it could win against Russia in war. And now there's a chance of all of these being encircled, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. So, let me just... Dun, 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 dun. The Russians are slowly starting, not slowly, pretty fast actually, not gonna lie. The Russians are kind of cooked, not gonna lie. So, troops from NATO are now capturing Kaliningrad for the second time in this war. So Russia's front in Estonia is pretty dire. It's barely even existing, as Estonia is obviously not a very strong country, but considering its size, it's pretty damn strong. So this is kind of a problem for Russia because obviously they don't want to get reverse invaded, but that's literally what's going to happen. So Russia is now completely pushed back, and NATO is going to start winning. Like, they were already winning, but that wasn't by very much because they're both losing. But now they're Russia's greatest weapon is being near Kyiv, but now that the new Ukrainian government is kind of very pro-Russian. By the way, guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that means you didn't watch the first episode, so that's why you don't know what I mean by extremely pro-Russian. Since that, it's kind of useless being right next to Kyiv, and it's also a disadvantage because if NATO gets Belarus, then they'll be right next to Kyiv, and then they'll capture Kyiv, and that's kind of a problem because you don't want that important city getting captured from your country, because your country is a country, okay? So every single country that's a country is also another country with an... Okay, I'll shut up. So, I'm sorry, Russia. This is how you get treated because you're not going to win this war, let's be honest. And by the way, St. Petersburg is not captured yet. I don't know how, but now it is. So, you snooze, you lose. Even though none of them snoozed. So, I don't know what I'm talking about. But okay, Russia is most definitely losing the war in terms of land gains and economy and what's left, because Russia doesn't even have many things left, even though I said that we're going to be ignoring Russia's problems with under shortage of weapons, not being able to give stuff to their allies, not even being able to equip their own soldiers with things. We're going to be ignoring that, like I said. So, I don't know if NATO is going to be able to capture, a lot of mainland Russia. I think they're only going to be capturing the previous Ukrainian lands, because obviously this is kind of Ukrainian, but since everyone who watched the last video knows that this is now Russian, this is basically all the progress that NATO is going to have for now into Russia. They're going to start a spearhead to Moscow, but Russia is not going to let Moscow fall, and Russia will protect Moscow. Let's finish this in the next episode. Bye!